Broadcasting to London and the South East, this is Carlton, your weekday ITV. It's 11 o'clock.
From the studios of ITN, The News, with John Suchet.
Good evening. Welcome to the programme. The headlines tonight. The Brighton bomber goes home tonight for Christmas. A miracle escape from crash landing in the mud. And the baby abandoned at Christmas by a mother who had had enough. The Brighton bomber, Patrick Magee, walked out of the Maze prison in Northern Ireland today to spend Christmas with his family and friends. He was among 160 terrorist prisoners, Republican and Loyalist, freed in Northern Ireland for 10 days. Loyalists complained today that the Republicans were now dictating the government's agenda and said their own ceasefire was very shaky. John Draper reports from Belfast.
Patrick Magee left the Maze prison a free man, at least for the next 10 days. He won temporary Christmas parole with his family after serving 11 years for the Brighton murders. Magee's due back in jail in the new year. 5 people died in the bomb intended to kill Margaret Thatcher and her cabinet. One man who lost his wife criticised Magee's Christmas leave, saying terrorists deserve no leniency. 160 members of Loyalist and Republican terrorist groups were let out for the holidays, but Loyalist prisoners, angry at what they see as government concessions to Republicans, said they were close to withdrawing support from the Stormont talks.
The ceasefire is very shaky at the moment. There's no two ways about it. Just things aren't going our way. It all seems to be going to Republicans.
But would the 4-year-long Loyalist ceasefire hold?
I think this is the most dangerous phase since the talks started. As far as the prisoners goes and the feedback we're getting from outside.
Some Republicans are uneasy about the talks, but today their prisoners were saying nothing. It seems then that the Christmas period will be critical for the Loyalist ceasefire as prisoners and politicians meet behind the scenes. It'll be the new year, though, before we know what they've decided. John Draper, ITN, Belfast.
89 people had a miraculous escape when their airliner crash-landed in a paddy field near Sylhet in Bangladesh. No one was even seriously hurt. Howell Jones at ITN reports.
Not even the pilot of this plane knows just how its crew and passengers survived this crash. The Fokker jet came down near Sylhet in Bangladesh in darkness and fog, yet no one died. 37 passengers from Britain were among those who scrambled to safety from these seats. They boarded the Biman Bangladesh Airlines flight at Dhaka and left the wreckage, counting themselves lucky to be alive. The pilot had tried to land several times. Then, 2 miles short of the runway, the jet came down on its belly in a paddy field, slithering to a halt.
They were very lucky in that they were approaching over a very flat area with a soft surface, paddy fields. There were no obstructions, and the aircraft touched down at a very gentle angle and just slid along on its belly.
One man who's flown the same plane on the same route says passengers had more than luck on their side.
It's a miracle, and in fact I was in Bangladesh in the same plane last week and traveling from Sylhet to Dhaka, and I had a feeling, because it's such an old plane,
Some among the passengers think a local saint was watching over the flight. Soft landing or saintly intervention. The survivors were certainly fortunate. Howell Jones, ITN.
The Prime Minister stood his ground today on reform of the welfare state. In an ITN interview, he dismissed the disabled protesters who threw paint in Downing Street yesterday and insisted that the current benefit system wasn't working. Here's our political editor, Michael Brunson.
Before starting his Christmas break at Chequers, the Prime Minister stopped off at a nearby pub for an end-of-the-year defence of his record. Had it not been fairly shocking, though, just before Christmas, to see disabled demonstrators hurling paint at the gates of Downing Street?
The people who were protesting were people who were chaining themselves to